Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Kahakadash.
I don't even know how we should start this.
I was reading this earlier, so I guess we'll start here. See where the Spirit takes us. I'm reading in the NLT. I'm going to start at the top. It's Proverbs 14:1. It says it's the header. The header reads, contrasts the upright and the wicked. Proverbs 14:1 in the NLT. It says, a wise woman builds her home, but a foolish woman tears it down with her own hands. Those who follow the right path of the Lord, those who take the wrong path despise him. A fool's proud talk becomes a rod that beats him, but the words of the wise keep them safe. That's very important. You know, the words of the wise keep them safe. We understand the times that we're entering into. We're going to have to be circumspect and really have to put forth the knowledge that we've gained throughout this time, our time being in the faith, you know. We're going to really have to put it, it's not going to just be words and lip service. We're going to have to actually act it out. And it's going to be to our benefit. You know, when everybody's out here bugging out because they don't know what's going on, we're going to be stoic because we know what is going on. This is what we've been waiting for. It says, without oxen, a stable stays clean, but you need a strong ox for a large harvest. An honest witness does not lie. A false witness breathes lies. A mocker seeks wisdom and never finds it, but knowledge comes easily to those with understanding. I'm going to continue. It says, stay away from fools, for you won't find knowledge on their lips. The prudent understand where they are going, but fools deceive themselves. And you see, we know if we stay the path where we ultimately are going to end up, you know, in the kingdom of heaven, if we are of the elect. But these people, this knowledge is too high for them. They still got their faith in this world, and it's deceiving them. You got people out here in 2025 thinking a college degree is going to save their lives. It's going to make their lives worth living. And you really got people that think they just got to struggle for now until they get their degree. And then once they get their degree, life is gone. It looks up from here. Meanwhile, AI is taking everyone's job.
No, that's not the case. Because, you know what I was meditating on? I was meditating on how really, like, the margin for error is slim nowadays. Like, you know how you used to be able to, like, get a job and then, you know, you'd be able to save up some money? You know what I'm saying? Well, when you factor in your expenses, like, whether you have, like, a mortgage, rent, you know, bills in general, it's like that takes away from your ability to save funds.
Right.
And so now people got to take up another job. And a lot of times, 2 jobs isn't even enough. So people are coming to the realization of like, yo, what is the point of this? We came to America, all we do is work. We're stressed out. We don't have time to ourselves. It's like, what is the point of this?
Yeah, and people think college is the way out. They think, oh, it's because you don't have education. That's why you got to work 2 or 3 jobs. If you go with a degree and acquire education, you'll be in a specialized field that'll pay you more. I was having a talk with this dude I was working with, and he's trying to be in the finance industry or whatever. And he really thinks, like, once he gets his degree,
He's going to be straight.
it's all up. Like, he's going to be good. But that's not the case.
Nah, because what? You're going to owe money on that degree.
Exactly.
On top of all your other expenses that don't stop. You got to eat. You got to get fresh.
Proverbs 14:8 in NLT. It says, the prudent understands where they are going, but the fools deceive themselves. Fools make fun of guilt, but the godly acknowledge it and seek reconciliation. You see, like, when we came into this faith, we understand our wrongdoing and how we was going about in this world was wrong. And we now, through the faith, we're being reconciled with Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. And when Yahweh Shai cracked from the clouds, Lord's will, we're accepted. It says, each heart knows its own bitterness, and no one else can fully share its joy. The health.
Each heart knows its own bitterness. So it's like, we all go through things mentally, stuff that doesn't sit right with us. You know what I'm saying? We gotta carry that. We gotta wear that, despite the environment that we're currently in. This life is already hard enough as it is, so you don't need to add any more like stress or worry to yourself. That's why it's important to like keep things in perspective. Like, at this point in our lives, personally, like we should already know how we have to conduct ourselves, what we need to do, how we should do with certain situations, just to make our lives easier. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to convince me or tell me how to spot fake people. I already know how to do that. You know what I'm saying? I'll stay away from people that are gonna cause harm to me. You know what I'm saying? I already know how to do that.
That's what this faith gives you, discernment. We can see the play before it even happens. Like we can suss people out and like, all right, this is bullshit. We know the truth from the fake. The elect won't be deceived, and that's from all angles. It says the house of the wicked will be destroyed, but the tent of the godly will flourish. There is a path before each person that seems right, but it ends in death. Laughter can conceal a heavy heart, but when the laughter ends, the grief remains. Backsliders get what they deserve. Good people receive their reward. Only simpletons believe everything they're told. The prudent carefully consider their steps. The wise are cautious and avoid danger. Fools plunge ahead with reckless confidence. Short-tempered people do foolish things, and schemers are hated. Simpletons are clothed with foolishness, but the prudent are crowned with knowledge.
Yeah, the prudent are crowned with knowledge. So, to be prudent means that you're looking ahead to the future. You're taking the future into account.
It says evil people will bow before good people. The wicked will bow at the gates of the godly. The poor are despised even by their neighbors, which the rich have many friends. It is a sin to belittle one's neighbor. Blessed are those who help the poor. If you plan to do evil, you will be lost. If you plan to do good, you will receive unfailing love and faithfulness. Work brings profit, but mere talk leads to poverty. Wealth is a crown for the wise. The effort of fools yields only foolishness. A truthful witness saves lives, but a false witness is a traitor. I'll stop there.
So the times that we getting ready to enter into, with the end of the world and societal collapse, it's good to have a great mindset. And really, the only way to achieve that is coming into the knowledge of this truth, man. Like, we can't stress that enough. We over here looking forward to 2026. Whatever it brings. We just know that it's a step in the right direction. I already got like a title, like of what personally I would call 2026. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna reveal that yet, but I was meditating on doing a video on it when the time comes. You get second Ezra's 7:42.
Second Ezra chapter 7 verse 42. It says, he answered me and said, this present life is not the end, where much glory doeth abide.
Yeah, this present life. The way we live in now is nothing compared to how we're going to be living in the kingdom. Like right now, we just surviving. You can't really say that we're living. We're really surviving. Just trying to make $1.
says, therefore have they prayed for the weak, but the day of doom shall be the end of this time, and the beginning of the immortality for to come, wherein corruption is past. And continue.
Yeah, so this world has to pass away. All of this has to come to an end in order for us to reach our destiny.
It says, intemperance is at an end, infidelity is cut off, righteousness is grown, and truth is sprung up. Then shall no man be able to save him that is destroyed, nor to oppress him that hath gotten the victory.
Yeah, so when the elect are safe and sound under the leadership of Yahushua in the kingdom of heaven, they're not going to have to worry about being ransacked or oppressed anymore.
I answered then and said, this is my first and last saying, that it had been better not to have given the earth unto Adam, or else when it was given him, to have restrained him from sinning.
Because really, this is how it all started. That was the beginning of sin. The whole story with Adam and Eve, and how Adam basically listened to Eve and the serpent. You know what I'm saying? When he bit the apple represents knowledge. And the serpent said, how does the story go? Bite into this apple, you're gonna become gods or something like that? Yeah. And then you bite into this apple, nothing's gonna happen to you or something like that? Barely paraphrasing. It's been a while since I read the story. And so obviously they bit into the apple, which represents knowledge and tree of fruit. And that's how we got here today. That was the beginning of sin.
"47th verse. It says, for what profit is it for men now in this present time to live in heaviness, and after death to look for punishment? O thou Adam, what hast thou done? For though it was thou that sinned, thou art not fallen alone, but we all that come of thee. For what profit is it unto us, if there be promised us an immortal time, whereas we have done the works that bring death?"
Yeah, so we've done the works that bring death, and that is sin. Because sin is the transgression of the law, and we should all know this. But that brings death and punishment. And that's why we gotta get new bodies, that's why we gotta get changed, that's why we gotta be under the new covenant. Yeah.
50th verse. It says, and that there is promised us an everlasting hope, whereas ourselves being most wicked are made vain, and that there are laid up for us dwellings of health and safety, whereas we have lived wickedly, and that the glory of the Most High is kept to defend them, which have led a weary life, whereas we have walked in the most wicked ways of all, and that there should be shewed a paradise whose fruit endureth forever.
Yeah, and that paradise is the kingdom. And it said that whose fruit endures forever. So we're gonna have complete control over not even the earth, we're gonna have control over the universe. Think about it. We're gonna be able to go from one planet to another, be able to hop on a chariot. Scriptures say, in my Father's house there are many mansions. So, really, the sky is the limit for us.
says, and read it again. It says, and that the glory of the Most High is kept. 53rd verse. It says, and that there should be showed a paradise whose fruit endureth forever, wherein is security and medicine, since we shall not enter into it. For we have walked in unpleasant places, and that the faces of them which have used abstinence shall shine above the stars, whereas our faces shall be blacker than darkness. For while we lived and committed iniquity, we consider not that we should begin to suffer for it after death. Continue.
That's it.
This is Philippians chapter 3. I start at 17. It says, brethren, be followers together of me, and mark them which walk, so as ye have us for an ensample. For many walk, of whom I have told you often, and now tell you even weeping, that they are the enemies of the cross of Yahushua, whose end is destruction, whose God is their belly, and whose glory is in their shame, who mind earthly things. That's talking about, the 2/3. It says, for our conversation is in heaven, from whence also we look for the Savior, the Lord Yahushua.
Yeah, our conversations in heaven. You're not looking to buy a house in America, man. No, we're not interested in that.
Getting married, having children.
We're looking forward to when we can have control over the entire earth. That way, we don't even got to worry about paying property taxes. See, you buy a house here, you got to worry about property taxes, insurance. Like, forget all that. You don't even have to worry about that even in other countries. But here in America, it's like you just get milk dry.
Perpetual slavery.
I was talking to this Ephraimite, and I found out that their car insurance and their registration, all they got to do is pay $500 for the year, and get to go.
Yeah, in Haiti, they only got to pay for their the whole their mortgage or the rent, whatever. They just pay it once a year, and that's it.
Yeah. And they don't got property taxes out there.
Great.
You gotta pay the gas bill, which is like $100 a month. That's nothing.
Unless you know, America is really just a system. Like, it's really a racket.
But they said the downside to these so-called third world countries is like the income. Like you don't really have like jobs out there, so that's why people come here to search for work and make money. But like I was saying, when people come here, they realize it's not all that's cracked up.
You remember, what was it, last summer? Maybe 2 summers ago now, that dude that was out here, he was like, I've been out here for however long, you guys are the first people that talk to me.
Yeah, because people, they're just in their own world.
They running that rat race. They can't see left or right. They just trying to run. They're running straight, trying to get to that bag. That's all people. They're walking with their head down, trying to get to that bag.
Or they worrying about how they're gonna pay this bill or that bill.
Right.
The people got their own problems, so they're not really concerned about being hospitable or kind to one another. See, when you're in a good mood, when dates is going good, you're gonna be like very happy and warm towards others. You're gonna be like, hey, how you doing? Yeah. Right. When you fucked up, you're gonna be like in a bad mood.
Got an attitude.
But you know what? Get out my way.
Fuck you, pay me. But That's because ultimately people, that's all they're concerned with here in America, making money, because you need it. And the time, it's just as time goes on, is the harder and harder it gets. So you need more and more of it.
That's really the whole point of America is making money.
That's all it is. That's why they'll sell you food with bad ingredients in it.
But they don't got that shit over there in Europe, though.
Right. Like somebody had to pass this through. Like they had to allow it to go on here. I'm telling you, America is a pumping dome. That's why it's known as that Babylon the Great Whore. You just get your money here and bounce.
You know why they can't do that in Europe, though? Put certain ingredients in Europe?
Because they don't. Because their healthcare is,
Yeah.
they have to cover the healthcare.
It's universal.
Right. So if they feeding you the bullshit, making you sick, they're the ones that's gonna have to pay the cost to get you back healthy.
Right.
America, that's on you. They dip in and they double dip it.
Furthermore, when you have a job, 9 to 5, when you work for a company, they technically own you. They have the rights to you. You're representing their company, their corporation. So, like, say something goes down, with domestic violence, or you get sick. Technically, that's gonna cost the business, the corporation. They're gonna have to pay for that. You know what I'm saying?
That's why certain companies, they'll put all these regulations on you. Because shit, if you're gonna work for me, you are in servitude to me, at least for 8 hours. You can't have a beard. You gotta shave your face. You gotta come dressed up, hard bottoms and dress in slacks. So Philippians 3 and 19. It says, whose end is destruction, whose God is their belly, and whose glory is in their shame, who mind earthly things. For our conversation is in heaven, from whence also we look for the Savior, the Lord Yahushua, who shall change our vile body, that it may be fashioned like unto his glorious body, according to the working whereby he is able even to subdue all things unto him. That's it. This is Colossians chapter 3, verse 1. It says, if ye then be risen with Yahushua, seek those things which are above, where Yahushua sitteth on the right hand of the Most High. Set your affection on the things above, not on the things on the earth.
So that's going into what you were saying earlier. Don't focus on trying to achieve things on this side. You know what I'm saying? Why would you even want to invest in property or anything long term in a place where it's not going to exist going forward in the future? You know what I'm saying? Like, you should really live as like pilgrims on this earth. We're just on the go, we on the move, we're not staying here. And that's our mentality, that's our mindset.
Especially when you know what we know, in these times of all this economical uncertainty, where you don't know what next month holds. You fuck around and get laid off next month.
Yeah, like, to be real, the economy could straight up collapse next year.
Right.
I mean, that's just what it is.
And we know it's ultimately by design. The powers that be, the top wicked elite, they want it that way.
Because I'm not sure how much longer they could really keep putting Bondo glue or whatever on this shit. Like, this shit's about to fall apart.
The bubble has to pop.
Like, we're reaching to the point where it's like people are seeing and realizing, like, we're working this hard, working these many hours, and it's still not enough. We're not getting ahead.
Everything is inflated.
So now people are like, at this point, I might as well just choose me. Or play my extra strategy and get the hell up out of here. Go back to my country, or figure out another state to live in, or another country to move to, whatever. Because what's going on now ain't working. And I always say this is the combined increments, man. So now is the time to like pull together your resources in order for you to stay afloat. Because trying to do your own thing, I mean, it's really like unsustainable. You know, they say that if you make 77K a year, you don't qualify for a mortgage. You know what I'm saying? You make $27 an hour. What is that? 50,000 a year? I mean, what are you? Yeah, give or take. So it's like, what are you really doing with 50,000 a year? And you on your own. You got your own bills. You got your car. You know, you got a mortgage. It's like that's not enough.
20,000, 25,000. That's your rent right there.
Yeah,
That's half of everything you made. Half of it just goes to a roof over your head.
exactly.
I went to Whole Foods. I probably got like 5 or 6 things. I spent like damn near $50. I'm like, god damn.
You know what I found out? They got sushi at Whole Foods.
Yeah.
I never
think I knew that.
I never eat the food over there. So I went over there, popped my head in. Like, oh, I can get with this.
You tried it?
Yeah, it's good.
Never had sushi.
You don't like sushi?
It's not that I don't like it. I just never had it. I always heard you can get sick from it, so I was always wary. You can't just get it anywhere.
I mean, you gotta be careful. Because you know nowadays the salmon that's mainstream
Farm.
is farm raised. You don't want farm raised salmon. You want that wild caught. And you know they're not using that wild caught on sushi, so you know everything's farm raised. I wouldn't get nothing salmon, obviously nothing shrimp, nothing eel. Even though I will admit, before I was in this troop, I used to eat that. I used to eat the eel sushi. Just with the crunch on it, the eel sauce.
Yeah, we see it for sure. That's what my mom used to eat that shit. She used to eat it with the crab meat, the crab and the sushi and all that, with the white rice.
Remember them days? Yeah. I say either get tuna roll or avocado roll.
Check it out. Again, this is Colossians 3:1. It says, if ye then be risen with Yahushai, seek those things which are above, where Yahushai sitteth on the right hand of the Most High. Set your affection on things above, not on things on the earth. For ye are dead, and your life is hid with Yahushai in Yahweh. It says, when Yahushai, who is our life, shall appear, then shall ye also appear with him in glory. Mortify therefore your members which are upon the earth, fornication, uncleanliness, inordinate affection, evil, concupiscence, and covetousness, which is idolatry. For which things sake the wrath of the Most High cometh on the children of disobedience, in the which ye also walked sometime when ye lived in them. But now ye also put off all these: anger, wrath, malice, blasphemy, filthy communication out of your mouth. Lie not one to another, seeing that ye have put off the old man with his deeds, and have put on the new man, which is renewed in knowledge after the image of him that created him.
Yeah, the new man. So it's like when you come into this truth, you become a new person.
Renewed with knowledge.
You start thinking different, you start moving different. Of course it's a process, it doesn't happen overnight. But once you get moving, it's really only up. But for some people it's down. People get a taste of this knowledge and then, you know, they just play around with it. They think that there's something better for them out there, but really there's not.
They never fully commit, you know. They got one foot out, one foot in.
But you can't do that though. It's like
Yeah.
either you're doing it or you're not.
Because ultimately, when you know better, you should do better. And now you know better, you know the truth, you know the right way from the wrong way, but you still playing with it. You're really just you're really just destroying your own self, you know, your own spirit. Having that in the back of your head, knowing you're doing wrong. It's one thing before we came into faith, we was just living our lives. But when you actually know you're doing wrong, it's a totally different thing. It's really like it's like a war that you're playing with yourself. That's why it's just, you just gotta commit to one or the other, whether it be righteousness, wickedness, the faith, or the world. You just gotta pick one and commit.
And it's like that with anything in life.
Right.
Like it's either you're doing it or you're not. You can't have one foot in and one foot out. Half step. Only make moves when your heart is in it. And a lot of people, their heart is not in this.
Says, and have put on the new man, which is renewed in knowledge, after the image of him that created him, where there is neither Greek nor Jew, circumcision nor uncircumcision, barbarian, Scythian, bond nor free, but Yahushua is all and in all. Put
So Yahushua, he's everything for us. And
This isn't talking about heathens, trying to, make it seem like, oh yeah, he's there for the heathen. No, it's talking about Jew nor Greek, because our people, Israelites, had a heathen mindset at one point. We didn't know that we were Israelites.
So as I was saying, all we can do is wait. I mean, we're really prisoners of war. POWs. That's all we can do is sit here and wait. Because it's like, yeah, we can try to plan our exit strategy now, leave America. But it's like, that's not going to be the end all be all for us. Because at the end of the day, we're still going to have the white man that's ruling over the earth. We're still going to have feminism. Stuff like that, institutions that we have no power over. Banks. You still got to worry about how you're going to feed yourself.
Pay your bills.
Make money. I mean, that's really like the main problem with leaving the United States. It's like, how are you going to make money? You're going to go somewhere to get a job, you don't even speak the native language. Good luck with that.
Because growing up in America, you don't even have the skills to go nowhere else and do. Like, you don't know how to farm. You don't know how to till the land.
Yeah, because you've been domesticated. You've been relying on this capitalist system. You've been relying on
This metropolis.
industrialization. And they've done that by design so that they can be the ones to make money and capitalize off of it. While, we be the ones to work and keep the system going, flowing. While we get the least out of it.
Consumers. We're all just consumers. Something breaks, we need to call somebody to fix it. We can't fix it ourselves. We can't make our own clothing.
Honestly, like we always say, like we rather just like live off the land than have to be in this capitalist system. That's unsustainable. Because nowadays here, you got a house, all right, now you got to keep your job. You lose your job, how you gonna pay your mortgage? It's over for you at that point.
I was thinking about that. Like in America, all these things that you work so hard to gain ultimately just becomes a crutch. Like it really gonna hold you back. Cause now you don't have no mobile. You can't move freely. Like here it is, you get a new car. Now you have to maintain a certain amount of income to keep these things. You get a home. Now you have to maintain a certain income to obtain to keep these things. And that alone of itself is stressful.
Yeah, this society is only fun for the rich.
Word.
If you're just a regular working class or middle class person, it's not fun. You could even say that they eradicated the middle class. Right? Especially because of where you live. You live in a metropolis, and it's really like either you're rich or you're poor.
Have it, have not. I always thought about that when I was younger. Like when I was younger, you go to Manhattan, you take the train and you drive through. It's like, yeah, this is nice. Like I like it here.
And then you start looking and doing research.
Uh-huh.
It's like $5,000 a month for an
Facts.
apartment here.
Facts.
$10,000 a month.
Even before then, like I was probably like 10 years old. I wasn't even thinking that deep into it, but it's so obvious to tell that you can only live here if you got money. It's only gonna be fun to live here if you got money. If you broke living here, it's like a curse for real. You can't live the life you want to live out here without money. And I noticed that young, but now that's really everywhere. That's anywhere you go.
If it was like that then, just imagine now. Like,
Right.
people, like I was saying, people are choosing themselves. They're trying to choose peace at this point. They're no longer trying to pick up shifts, work 2-3 jobs. They're like, you know what? It's pointless. Fuck it. We just relax.
Minimalist.
I'm gonna be broke. I'm gonna be broke. You're trading your time for money, and it's still not enough.
Still not enough facts. They're like minimal lifestyle. That's what people be preaching now. Like that's becoming like a big thing now. Living a minimalist lifestyle. You know, slow mornings, stuff like that. Because people ultimately understand like having a house is really just a dream now. Like that's not even a reality for a lot of people.
It's a bad investment.
Yeah, facts.
You got to pay for the upkeep on it, on top of the bills. Unless you mean, you know, you combine the increments with family members, you getting your help. But it's like you came to America to do that.
That's what I'm
live
saying.
Like that.
That's not ideal,
Like,
though.
the ideology has always been to like go out, leave the nest, and buy your own crib, do your own thing. That's always been the mentality here in America. So don't be surprised next year you see something happen with the housing market. That shit collapses, along with the stock market, which is overvalued. But you know, when the stock market goes, pretty much everything else is going to be as follows. But they've been artificially like pumping it up with low interest rates. Remember like 2020, 2021?
Yeah.
Yo, practically zero interest rate, like 1%. You know what I'm saying? And people was buying, it was buying and buying. And it works for the time being, but now they can no longer do that. That's why interest rates is high now, but now they're trying to like lower them. You know, also pumping money into the economy, printing more money. You know, that's really been like the band-aid that's been put on the wound. That's really been the only reason why like this hasn't collapsed yet. It's because of what they've been doing to prolong that happening. But at some point, this is gonna all come crashing down, and it could possibly happen next year.
This is where we're at now, you know. I brought out a couple weeks ago the everything bubble. That's where we're at now. Everything on all fronts, all markets, everything is inflated right now. Everything is just expensive. But at some point the bubble's gonna pop, and that's when all hell breaks loose, and they're gonna have to introduce a new system to keep this economy going. It can't go on like this.
I really don't see like how they can get like another 2 years out of this the way things is going. I mean, how can you see it?
That's when people tell you, watch, when the stock market crashes, now is your time to buy. This is your time to get in. Like you're gonna be able to reap the benefits 20 years from now, getting in now. Like this shit is over with.
That's the whole point of the stock market, is to hold on to a stock for like 5, 10, maybe 20 years. Then you reap the benefits of it.
Watch, when all hell breaks loose, you're gonna have people saying, this is when you buy. It's like a game, you know. It's like playing double dutch, when you need to know when to get in and get out. It's like Colossians 3:12. It says, put on therefore as the elect of the Most High, holy and beloved, bowels of mercies, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness and long-suffering, forbearing one another, and forgiving one another. If any man have a quarrel against any, even as Yahushua forgave you, so also do ye. And above all these things put on charity, which is the bond of perfectness. And let the peace of God rule in your hearts, to the which also ye are called in one body, and be ye thankful. Let the word of Yahushua dwell in you richly, in all wisdom, teaching and admonishing one another in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing with grace in your hearts to the Lord. Listen. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 11. It says, put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. And again, put on the whole armor, put on the elect, because this knowledge is really a defense when you think about it. Because when you don't have the knowledge of Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, you're susceptible to all kinds of bullshit. That if you had the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, you could have evaded simply. Because the knowledge teaches you how to move about in this world. You got people that don't have the knowledge that's just moving, with the flesh. And ultimately, the flesh just wants to be satisfied. So you fall into all kinds of traps, mischief, and things that could have easily been avoided. Twelfth verse. It says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places.
Spiritual wickedness in high places. And if you haven't noticed, the vibes has been off. It's just bad vibes. Like, even when you're out in public, like, you notice people, they just look down, they look depressed.
The Christmas spirit, that holiday spirit, that shit is gone. That shit is gone.
People are starting to lose hope for the future.
They don't even know how they're getting their Christmas gifts this year. Their credit cards is already maxed out.
People are suffering.
13th verse, it says,
you know what? A lot of people are suffering silently. They keep it to themselves. They'll put on a facade.
I was talking to one of my coworkers, this girl, she's 19 years old, and she got into a car accident or whatever, and she was telling me how her car insurance was almost $600. And I was like, yo, how are you 19 paying a $600 car insurance a month? That's just the insurance, not the note. It's like, no way.
Oh yeah, she got a note.
It's like, yo, if you're struggling, you know what I'm saying? People are just getting by. How the fuck is that even a react? How could somebody willingly sign on to that? It's because they don't have no money to just go get a $4,000 car, a nice little beater or something that can get them from A to B. They gotta take out these loans to get around.
You can't save $5,000 to buy a hoopty though.
That's what I'm saying. Like how do you willingly sign on to paying $600? Let's just say $800 a month for a vehicle. That's rough. Knowing the job, where she works at, it's you're really not getting it like that. You struggle. 13th verse.
See, that's one of those things that wouldn't sit right with me. If it was me,
that's rough.
Damn. Now I gotta keep this job. I gotta always have income just to buy a car and keep a car to go from point A to point B.
You car poor now at that point though. You car poor.
Yeah. God forbid something happens to you and you lose your job. The bills don't stop.
Right, that's a high ass, overhead right there. And that's just one thing, not counting, gas and anything else you gotta pay for. That's a lot of overhead for a 19-year-old. 13th verse. It says, wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. And you see, I gotta read that again. It says, above all, most importantly, take the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. Because ultimately, it's faith that keeps us going in this knowledge. That gives us that strong belief in that it gets better than this. This isn't the end, We have a righteous kingdom set up, waiting for us, if we be of the elect. Even after, the two-thirds they get destroyed, they come back in the kingdom of heaven. But ultimately, that's faith that has us believe that. Nothing else. It says, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of the Most High, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints. Blessed are.
Let's see. Jeremiah 6:16.
Jeremiah chapter 6, verse 16 says, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, stand ye in the ways, and seek, and ask for the old paths, where is the good way, and walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein.
Yeah, so it's good to seek after the ancient ways, because those are ways that have been tried, tested. They stand the test of time. You know what I'm saying? So in our case, that's the book, that's the Bible, which gives us the mental fortitude to maneuver in this wicked world. You know what I'm saying? The wisdom that we need to keep going.
It says also, I set watchmen over you, saying, hearken to the sound of the trumpet, but they said, we will not hearken.
Yeah, because look at us. We're out here. It's cold, and even when it's warm, most of the time, people don't engage with us. They don't even inquire. They don't want to know what we do. It's because they're not concerned about things that are spiritual. They're more concerned about things that are of this world or in the flesh.
The now.
Yeah, the now, the moment. And that's part of running the rat race. That's part of being stuck in the matrix. You don't really have the time or the energy to focus on things that are eternal. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like us, it's like we came into this truth, we put on our glasses like Clark Kent or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And we had our disguise and everything. It's like we know who we are, we know what we have, we know the knowledge that we possess. But it's like, most people they look at this and they see that it's not valuable. You know what I'm saying? But it's like us, we feel like Superman.
Facts.
We feel like we got powers.
You got something money can't even buy. You couldn't get this even if you wanted to. It had to be given to you through the Lord.
We feel like we're not regular people. You know what I'm saying?
And Lord's will, if we of the elect, in the times that come, that's gonna be obvious. We get our spiritual powers. We're gonna be able to heal, stuff like that. Again, this faith, it gives you what Elder Apostle Tahar says, a ruling class mindset, and that really lets you know this system that we're living in is really bullshit. It's not scheduled for us, and it ain't worth it. We got a lot more promised to us. Jeremiah 6 and 18. It says, therefore hear ye nations, and know, O congregation, what is among them. Or that was the point. That was the point, or keep going. 2 Timothy's chapter 2. I'll start at the top. It says, "Thou therefore, my son, be strong in the grace that is in Yahushua, and the things that thou hast heard of me among many witnesses, the same commit thou to faithful men, who shall be able to teach others also. Though therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahushua. No man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life."
The affairs of this life. Oh yeah, man. So I'm going to college next semester. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be a nurse next year.
That was the most miserable I've ever been in my life. It's when I was in college. Like, that shit was miserable.
It's just in a trance.
Dead ass. It's like you can't even enjoy yourself because in the back of your mind, you always got a fucking paper due or something. Like, you couldn't even, like, that shit was miserable.
Yeah, and in addition, you know, when you're in the system, you know, when you go through, like, you know, grade school, you spend so much time and focus trying to get out and graduate that you're not even prepared for what comes next.
Fact.
That's when you enter into the real world.
Fact.
Yeah, you gotta go to college, you know. Maybe you was under the impression that, you know, being 18 and taking out a student loan as far as $100,000 was the way to go. And then by the time, you know, 4 years goes by, you like, damn, so what did I do?
What was I thinking?
And I dormed. And then you're looking at your degree and how much the jobs is paying for your degree. Oh, so it's only paying $60K a year? Shit. The math isn't adding up there.
God damn, this AI shit coming out? What's this AI shit?
Like, why are you going to a university getting an interior design degree when the average interior design job pays you $60K a year? $65K a year. What the hell are you going to do with that? Or was you just going for the experience or the aesthetic of going to college is something you dreamed about your whole life? Man, only women was doing that.
That's a real, like,
Only women envision
Facts.
themselves going to college their whole life.
especially for a degree like that. Like, going to FIT, shit like that. Being a wardrobe designer and all that kind of shit. Like,
NYU. Man, if you're not going to like do anything in healthcare, and even then, like that's an expensive degree.
that's what people always say though. Like, you go to college for the experience. No experience is worth a fucking $80,000 worth of that. I don't give a fuck what it
You know
is.
what you can do with that 80,000, that 100,000?
Set yourself up, be in a better position.
But you don't even have the money, so I'm not even gonna say what you can do with it. You took out a loan.
Right.
You're gonna be stuck on that for the next 25, 30 years. On top of whatever else you may decide to do with your life. You might meet somebody, you might find a husband, you might find a wife, and you want to start a family. That's gonna be even more money.
For real.
So that's why I said the margin for error is slim now. It's like, what space do you have to really maneuver and stay afloat? You know, a lot of people have it in their minds that buying a house is never gonna happen.
It's like that's what they call, like, I was reading into the doom spending. Like, people understand these things are like, it's too far out there reach. They're never going to be able to obtain these things. So they're just buying shit that makes them happy in the moment.
They choosing themselves.
Yeah, they're just going on vacation, even if it's on credit. They're going shopping, even if it's on credit. They just want to feel good.
Calling out from work more and more. Which is a sign of them being like stressed out, depressed, need more time to themselves. So now, see, that's another reason why businesses is moving towards AI. AI is not going to call out. AI is more sufficient. AI is going to do the job and not complain. Unlike people. Shit, even women. Women, they got rights. They went out to the workforce. At some point, they realized, like, yeah, I don't really want to do this. I don't want to be working. And realistically, women aren't supposed to be working. If it was up to us, if it was our world, they'd be at the crib, kicked back, or, you know, dealing with, like, household chores and stuff like that, they wouldn't be working a 9 to 5. So, our counterparts, they've been finessed. They've been finessed.
They'll be home making fresh bread every morning. But now they gotta get up and punch your clock.
But in a way, that's where the world is headed anyway. You can't make it off a single income. So they was gonna have to go to work anyway. But now it's got women's minds all messed up. Like, you know what? Now I gotta find a man that comes to save me or take care of me that makes a lot of money. Because this is all about the money with women. It's all about what you can provide for them. They don't care about love.
Tell you, that's why you see with the rappers, they can have fucking a brothel full of women. They can have 5 women, but he got money, so they'll deal. But a regular Jake working a regular job, they'll never. They'll have all this back talk and attitude and shit. But it's because of the money. The money will make them shut up.
Everything comes down to money in this world. The haves, the have-nots. But what is it worth? What is the point of continuing when what you're doing is not even enough? You're still drowning in debt. So that's why people are like at the tipping point. Like, that's why you notice the vibes is off. It's bad vibes.
Everybody's like on edge. Literally, it's like people are a crisis away from losing everything. Like, everybody's on edge.
One flap of a wing, you lose it all.
Right.
Shit, I even hear now people are opting out of healthcare. They're like, you know what, I can't afford it.
I mean, you gotta pay healthcare though, because if you don't, it's gonna get what's that word? Where they take it out your check anyway? Garnish. They're gonna garnish your wages. Like, you can't just not pay taxes. I mean, you can't just not pay healthcare. Like, if you don't have healthcare, you're still gonna get money taken out of your. Say you go to work, it's gonna get garnished. They're gonna garnish your wages. You can't just not have healthcare.
What you mean, like when you owe?
No, like say if like, you know how under the Obamacare, I think it's up to 26. You're under your parents, and then you have to get your own healthcare. If you just go without healthcare, you're still paying for it. Either it's gonna be in your tax report or you're gonna garnish your wages at your job. Like, it's not like you're just not paying. You're gonna have to pay. It's not like you just go with, all right, I don't want health insurance. Fuck it, I don't need it. And you go years with having no health insurance. You're gonna get paid. You still have to pay regardless.
Okay.
It's not a thing in America.
But imagine being in a position where they taking $500 out your check. Some people are paying that.
That's excessive though. Yeah, I know.
Some people's paying that because they got family on it and kids.
And then when you need a procedure, you can't even afford your goddamn copay. It's like crazy.
And the average cost per month for healthcare is like $180 or something like that. Depending where you live. So it's like, I don't like how health has been monopolized in this country.
Second Timothy 2:3 again. It says, "Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier for Yahushua. No man that warreth entangle himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who hath chosen him to be a soldier. And if a man also strive for masteries, yet is he not crowned, except he strive lawfully. The husbandman that laboreth must be first partakers of the first fruits. Consider what I say, and the Lord give thee understanding in all things. Remember that Yahushua of the seed of David was raised from the dead according to my gospel, wherein I suffered trouble as an evildoer, even unto bonds, but the words of God is not bound. Therefore I endure all things for the elect's sake, that they may also obtain the salvation which is in Yahushua with eternal glory."
So we're the ones that need saving. 12 tribes of Israel. Because we don't have power over this world. We don't have control over financial institutions. We're not the ones making calls or decisions that dictate how your life is going to go going forward. And as it stands right now, the rich rule the world. And we're just nothing. You know what I'm saying? They're the ones who have the last say so. And so it's like we don't want to live like this. That's why we can't wait until all hell breaks loose. Like, just let it happen, man. I'm gonna wrap it up. You got enough scripture?
This is Matthew 24 and 13. It says, but he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved.
Endure to the end. So, we really can't say that we're saved. You know how Christians say that they're saved? The end hasn't come yet, so how are you saved?
It says, and this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come.
Christianity's been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. And what needle has that moved?
It's brought on more confusion.
Yeah, if anything, those are just lies that have been held up by our oppressors. You know what I'm saying? And they wouldn't have a leg to stand on if the truth was exposed. If the whole world knew who the Israelites really are, and that we're the chosen ones, and that them people over there in the land today are phonies, then they would lose grounds. They would have to admit that everything that they've said, everything that they've done has been a lie. And then they gotta give back wealth, they gotta give back resources, land. They're never gonna do that. So the only one that's gonna make that right is Yahweh.
I was thinking about it the other day. I was meditating. And I was like, yo, imagine if, like, we or the elder apostles and bishops got to make like a movie or a TV series about the truth, the whole truth, the way it is written in the Bible, with the people really, the skin color they're supposed to be, and the nations and everything, and who Esau is, and who Jacob is, and everything. Like, that'll blow people's mind. Like, that'll probably win an award. That could win an award. It's the things that we know. If we could bring it to the big screen and tell the truth in its entirety, what what that could do.
Who controls the movie industry?
We'll never be allowed to do that. We'll never be able to tell the truth. Because then it's exposing way too much.
We'll have to go independent.
Exactly, and nobody's gonna give us the funding to do that.
You're not gonna let us rock on Amazon or YouTube.
Right. Matthew 24 and 15, it says, when ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judah flee into the mountains. That's it.
Yeah. So with that, we're gonna wrap it up.